You've worn it your whole life, but no one ever told you it could quietly ruin your health after 60. You might think it's just a pair of undies, but what if I told you the way you wear it could be behind that constant itch, those 3 a.m. bathroom runs, or infections your doctor keeps brushing off as just part of aging? That used to be me. Until one day, my gynecologist looked me dead in the eye and said, "If you don't change how you treat your body down there, you'll be back here every month." So let me ask you, if you're a woman over 60, do you value your comfort, your confidence, your health? If so, this video is for you. Today we're exposing 8 quiet underwear habits that most women over 60 never get warned about. Before we dive in, tap that like button, hit subscribe. This one's personal. You're watching Advice for Older People. Real tips for feeling good, aging strong, and living life on your terms. Habit 1. Wearing tight underwear or shapewear too long. Why squeezing into old habits could be hurting your skin, nerves, and confidence. Let me take you back to a Sunday afternoon at church. I had just bought a new pair of miracle shapewear. You know, the kind that promises to lift, tuck, and take 10 years off your figure. I thought, why not? It was a special service, and I wanted to look my best. Well, halfway through the sermon, I could barely sit still. The waistband was digging in, my legs were going numb, and I was counting down the minutes like a kid waiting for recess. By the time I got home and peeled those things off, I had deep marks across my hips and thighs. It felt like I'd been wearing a rubber band around my middle for 3 hours straight. But the real problem? It's not just the discomfort. Doctors warn that tight underwear, especially shapewear, can restrict blood flow, press on nerves, and trap heat and moisture, which becomes especially risky after menopause, when our skin and immune defenses are more fragile. That means more yeast infections, more rashes, and yes, even tingling or numbness. And for women like us, over 60, our skin is thinner, our circulation slower. What used to feel like a snug fit now becomes a health risk. So I had to ask myself, why am I torturing my body just to chase a version of myself that doesn't even exist anymore? Let me tell you the truth. At this age, comfort isn't giving up, it's waking up. The solution is simple. Ditch the shapewear. Choose underwear that's soft, breathable, and fits you. Not the version of you from 20 years ago. Look for natural fabrics like cotton or bamboo. And don't be afraid to size up, because looking good should never come at the cost of feeling good. And honestly, feeling good starts right here, with what's closest to your skin. You don't need tight fabric to feel pulled together. You need freedom, softness, and self-respect. Habit 2. Sleeping in underwear. How ditching bedtime panties can improve hygiene and help your skin heal overnight. I'll be honest, this one took me years to unlearn. Growing up, I was taught that a proper lady always wore something to bed, even just a soft pair of panties. Going without? That felt improper, exposed, almost rebellious. But a few years ago, I started waking up feeling itchy, damp, off. At first, I blamed the weather. Then, like most things after 60, I blamed age. But the real culprit? My underwear. My doctor, a smart, no-nonsense woman in her 50s asked me one simple question. Do you sleep in underwear? When I said yes, she didn't blink. She just said, try going without for 1 week. Then tell me how you feel. So I did. The first night felt strange, like I'd forgotten something. The second night, I slept deeper. By the third, I woke up feeling fresher, drier, more at ease in my own skin. There's science behind that. Doctors explain that while we sleep, our bodies cool down and release moisture. If that moisture gets trapped by fabric, especially synthetic ones, it creates a warm, damp space where bacteria and yeast love to grow. And let's be honest, menopause already makes us more vulnerable to irritation and dryness. So, sleeping in underwear? It's like putting a damp cloth in a drawer overnight and hoping it stays fresh. Here's the truth. At our age, our skin needs air just as much as it needs lotion. Nighttime is when your body heals. And healing begins with letting your skin breathe. So what's the fix? Simple. Go without, at least while you sleep. Or wear a loose cotton nightgown. No elastic, no pressure. Because your body isn't meant to be managed 24/7. It's meant to rest, to release, to recover. And yes, you can still be a lady, even if your underwear sleeps in a drawer. Habit 3. Wearing the same pair too long. Why clean isn't always fresh, and how comfort can turn into neglect. It started like any lazy Tuesday. Just me, my recliner, a pot of tea, and the remote. The weather was chilly, I stayed in my robe, and I'll admit it, I never changed my underwear. It's not like I was sweating, I told myself. I didn't leave the house, didn't see a soul. But by the next morning, something felt off, a little itchy, a little sore, and that uncomfortable kind of damp you can't quite explain. So I called my nurse practitioner, bless her. She always speaks plainly. She asked one question. Even if you're not active, your skin is. It's shedding, breathing, producing bacteria, especially down there. That was the moment I realized neglect doesn't have to look messy. Sometimes it looks like comfort. And it hit me. I'd never think of wearing the same socks for 24 hours straight. So why was I treating my most sensitive skin like it didn't matter? Here's what many women don't realize. As we age, our skin gets thinner. Our immune system isn't as quick to fight off bacteria. And our intimate areas? They're slower to heal, more prone to imbalance. That harmless habit of staying in the same pair too long, especially after leaks, light sweat, or just a warm afternoon, can lead to yeast overgrowth, urinary tract infections, and yes, that odor we all hope no one else notices. Here's the truth. Clean doesn't always mean fresh, and comfort shouldn't mean neglect. So what's the fix? Easy. Change your underwear at least once every 24 hours, no matter what. And more often if you're sweating, exercising, or dealing with light leaks. Better yet, keep a clean pair in your purse or bag. There's nothing like slipping into a fresh pair in the middle of a long day. Because caring for yourself isn't vanity, it's hygiene, it's dignity. It's a quiet way of saying, I still matter. Habit 4. Choosing synthetic fabrics. The truth about lace, satin, and nylon, and why cotton might save your skin. I used to think all underwear was created equal. If it was soft, cute, and didn't ride up. It went in my drawer. Lace, satin, even those silky-looking nylon blends that felt fancy. I bought them on sale, folded them in sets, and never once read the tag. Until one summer, I started getting a rash that just wouldn't go away. It itched. It burned. It made me dread putting anything on. I tried creams, changed soaps, switched laundry detergent. Nothing helped. Finally, my dermatologist asked, "What kind of fabric are you wearing down there?" I paused. Then I said what many women say, I don't know. Whatever came in the pack." She nodded. "Check the label. If it doesn't say cotton, toss it." Turns out, a lot of the prettiest underwear, the ones made of polyester, nylon, spandex, don't let your skin breathe. In fact, recent dermatology studies suggest that fabrics like bamboo and even biofunctional textiles made from natural fibers like chitin help protect mature skin and reduce inflammation. They're not just comfortable, they're medically smart for our age. They trap moisture, hold heat, and can irritate aging skin that's already thinner and drier than it used to be. I looked in my drawer that night. Nearly everything was synthetic. Every day, I was sealing my most sensitive skin in plastic and calling it pretty. So I made the switch. Bought a few pairs of soft, breathable cotton. Nothing fancy, just functional. Within a week, the rash was gone, and I realized something. Sometimes, fancy is just uncomfortable with better marketing. So what's the fix? Simple. Choose natural fabrics like 100% cotton or bamboo, especially for daily wear. Save the lace and satin for special occasions, if you must. And don't fall for labels that say cotton blend. Read the fine print. If it's less than 90% cotton, it's probably doing more harm than good. Because when your skin can't breathe, your whole body feels it. And at this age, you deserve better than fabric that fights you. Comfort isn't plain. It's power. And nothing is more elegant than peace of mind. Because feeling good in your own skin, literally, is the kind of beauty no fabric can fake. Habit 5. Ignoring incontinence leaks. What light leaks are really doing to your body, and why silence isn't strength. This one took me a while to admit, not to my doctor, not to my friends, but to myself. It started with little leaks. A sneeze, a laugh, a quick step toward the phone. Nothing major, just enough to make me a little uncomfortable. At first, I brushed it off. That's just part of getting older, I told myself. I popped in a panty liner and carried on with my day. But the truth, I was dealing with it quietly, and not well. There were days I'd change underwear twice, sometimes 3 times. Still, I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't even want to write it down in my symptom journal. Until one day, at my doctor's office, during a routine checkup, she looked at me and asked, "Are you experiencing any leakage?" I hesitated, then said the usual, "Just a little, nothing serious." She gave me that look, the one that says, "You're not fooling me." And she said something I'll never forget. Even small leaks, left unaddressed, can turn into big health problems. Moisture trapped in your underwear, even from light leaks, creates the perfect breeding ground for bacteria. That means more urinary tract infections, more skin irritation, more odor, and more discomfort that no woman should have to live with in silence. For us over 60, that skin is already thinner. Our natural defenses? slower, and repeated exposure to wetness can cause chafing, redness, even open sores over time. And I know I'm not the only one. So many women live with this quietly, not because it's small, but because it feels too personal to name. So what's the fix? First, stop pretending it's not happening. It doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. Switch to underwear designed for light incontinence. They're softer, drier, and way more discreet than they used to be. Keep a fresh pair and some gentle wipes in your purse. And if things get worse, talk to your doctor. There are pelvic floor exercises, medications, even therapies that help, because ignoring it won't protect your pride, but addressing it will protect your health. Your body is not a problem to hide. It's a life you've lived, and it deserves comfort, dignity, and attention. Because health isn't just about what you treat. It's about what you finally stop hiding. And the moment you stop hiding it is the moment healing begins. Habit 6. Wearing thongs or tight styles regularly. The hidden dangers of modern cuts. And what sexy should really feel like after 60. Let's just say this one came with a learning curve. Last year, I found a sale on some modern underwear. Sleek, seamless, barely there. One pair was a thong. I thought, why not? I may be older, but I'm not invisible. So I wore it to brunch with my daughters. Big mistake. By the time we finished our second cup of coffee, I was squirming in my seat like a 5-year-old. It felt like I had a shoelace stuck in the wrong place. And I spent most of the meal trying to smile through the discomfort. And in that moment, I realized no outfit is worth sitting through pain just to prove I still have it. That discomfort wasn't just annoying, it was a warning sign. Now, here's what no one told me. Thongs and tight styles aren't just uncomfortable. They can be risky, especially as we age. Doctors say these styles can cause constant friction against delicate skin. And that friction can lead to micro tears, inflammation, and even allow bacteria to travel from back to front, which means higher risk of urinary tract infections, irritation, and even hemorrhoid flare-ups. Add to that our thinning skin, slower healing, and decreased natural moisture. And suddenly, that cute little thong feels a lot less harmless. So I had to ask myself, who am I wearing this for? Because it sure isn't for my comfort. Here's the truth. You don't have to dress like you've given up, but you also don't need to suffer to feel beautiful. So what's the fix? Choose full coverage underwear made with soft seams, gentle leg holes, and wide waistbands. Look for designs that fit without digging and move with you, not against you. There are plenty of modern styles that are still flattering, without acting like dental floss. Because, at this age, sexy doesn't mean squeezed. It means confident, comfortable, and kind to your body. Real confidence doesn't come from what you squeeze into. It comes from what you no longer tolerate. And if that sounds like you, maybe it's time to stop tolerating too. Habit 7. Not replacing old underwear. Often enough. How worn-out pairs can cause irritation, infections, and self-neglect. I used to be proud of how long I could make a pair of underwear last. If the seams were still holding and the elastic wasn't shot, into the drawer it went. Sometimes for years. It wasn't about being frugal. Okay, maybe a little. But mostly, it felt wasteful to toss something that looked fine. Then one day, while folding laundry, I held up a pair and realized these things have been with me longer than my last car. The waistband was stretched, the fabric was thinning, and let's just say there were holes in places that should not have ventilation. Still, I kept thinking, they're clean. That's all that matters, right? But then came the irritation, a little redness, some itching, and a urinary tract infection that hit me harder than usual. My doctor asked what I was wearing. Not in a fashion sense. She meant fabric, age, condition. When I told her some of my underwear was over 5 years old, she raised an eyebrow. Even clean fabric collects bacteria over time, she said. Old elastic can irritate skin, and worn fabric doesn't protect the way it used to. Turns out, underwear has a shelf life, and just like toothbrushes or bath sponges, it needs to be replaced regularly, especially for us. As we age, our skin is more prone to micro tears. Our immune response is slower, and the very last thing we need down there is friction, bacteria, or lingering moisture from overused fabric. Those small discomforts we ignore, they're often your body's way of whispering, "Please treat me better." So what's the fix? Simple. Replace your underwear every 6 to 12 months. Sooner if the elastic is loose, the fabric is thinning, or if you've had any infection or irritation. Make it a ritual. New Year, new underwear. Birthdays, celebrate with a fresh set. Even just a random Tuesday, why not? You're not being wasteful, you're being wise. Because old underwear isn't a badge of honor. It's a signal that your comfort's been on the back burner. And you, my dear, are far too important to overlook. Sometimes, the smallest act of self-care is tossing the pair that's been with you too long and choosing something that says, "I still deserve fresh things." Habit 8. Washing underwear with harsh detergents. Why what stays on your fabric matters more than what goes in the wash. I used to throw everything into one big load. Underwear, towels, jeans, dish rags. Didn't matter. Same cycle. Same detergent. Same mistake I didn't know I was making. I liked the smell. Fresh, floral, powerful. Until one day, I realized something strange. Even my cleanest underwear made me itch. Not a lot. Just enough to make me shift around, reach for creams, and wonder, is it just dry skin? Hormones? But it didn't go away until my doctor asked, "What laundry detergent are you using?" I told her the brand. She nodded slowly and said, "It's not just what's in your underwear. It's what's on it." Turns out, most commercial detergents are packed with harsh chemicals, synthetic fragrances, and dyes. And while our skin could tolerate that in our 30s and 40s, by 60, not so much. As estrogen declines, our skin becomes thinner, drier, and more prone to irritation, especially in intimate areas. Even trace residue from detergent can cause redness, burning, or that persistent discomfort we blame on aging. Some experts now recommend switching to gentle detergents labeled free and clear, or those used in sensitive skin care, like the formulas designed for eczema or menopausal skin. In fact, fabrics treated with mild acid coatings like citric acid are being studied for their ability to protect sensitive areas, especially helpful for women in postmenopause. So I made a change. I switched to a fragrance-free, hypoallergenic detergent, skipped fabric softener altogether, and started adding a second rinse cycle just to be safe. Within a week, no more itch, no more guessing games, just clean, calm skin and peace of mind. So what's the fix? Check your detergent. If it has perfume, dyes, or a list of ingredients you can't pronounce, it might be too harsh. Choose gentle, skin-safe alternatives. Look for free and clear or sensitive skin on the label, and rinse twice if needed. Because what stays in your fabric stays on your skin. Because your skin isn't just a barrier, it's an organ, and it deserves kindness with every wash. At this age, peace doesn't start in a yoga class. Sometimes it starts in the laundry room with a quiet, loving choice that says, "My comfort matters, even here." And there you have it. 8 quiet habits hiding in your underwear drawer. And maybe hiding behind some of the irritation, discomfort, and infections no one warned us about. None of this is about shame. It's about knowledge. And when we know better, we treat ourselves better. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to do everything at once. But if one of these changes helped you feel more seen, more in control, or just more comfortable in your own skin, then this video did its job. So now, I want to hear from you. Which of these habits surprised you most or hit a little too close to home? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story might be just what another woman needs to feel seen. This is advice for older people. Real tips for feeling good, aging strong, and living life on your terms. Subscribe now if you're done guessing and ready to start feeling better. Because confidence at our age doesn't come from control. It comes from care. And it starts with the choices no one else sees. Like what's touching your skin right now. Remember, small changes lead to big differences. Subscribe for more real-life advice tailored for women like you. Until next time, treat yourself with the kindness you deserve.